Hi, I'm Sterling, and you're learning American English with me. Please subscribe to my channel. I can help you improve your fluency and your listening abilities in American English. I like doing these exercises of telling strange and sometimes true experiences. And one of the easiest ways to exercise the past tense is to tell stories because stories tell about what happened in the past. Some people are blessed with an ability to tell some really bizarre stories. My stories usually aren't so bizarre, and I sometimes have to spice up my stories with a little bit of exaggeration for the sake of entertainment, which isn't always easy to do, but this time I didn't need to. The story needs no exaggeration. So here we go. This is a little story about something I share, sometimes kind of cautiously. So as you listen for past tense forms. Listen to where the present tense gets used in telling about the past once. And listen for the present perfect. That's in there at least once. So let's go. Listen to the story. My late parents, they were very interesting. I mean, not just on the outside. They were interesting, not just because they were externally interesting. Of course, they were very externally interesting. And I still feel very blessed to have had parents who didn't conform to standards of normalcy, you might say. There are unwritten standards, like you're supposed to fall into some kind of pattern that's called normal. And I mean socially, spiritually, religiously, occupationally. Society says you need to be a certain way, you need to have certain habits. And it just felt to me like because of my mom and dad, life was just a little more interesting than possibly it was with other families. And as time went on, after we kids were grown up, we were out of the house and we had our own families, my parents continued to demonstrate an interesting kind of difference. So let me tell you about something. It's my parents' closet nudity. Closet nudity. Maybe it was in the closet a long time. I'm not sure. But it came out of the closet long after I already had my own family. There are two words in English that sound very much alike. Bear, the animal, Bear, and bare, like uncovered, Bare, which also means naked. Like I can go outside in my bare feet, for example. Roar, my bare feet. So when my son was about 9 years old, he's 32 now. So this would have been about 1996 or 1997. My parents had sold our house where I grew up that was closer to the city, and they moved to a more remote location, which was in southern Ohio. They lived up on a big hill with a driveway so steep it was difficult to climb in some cars, so they rarely had visitors that were not expected. And they didn't like unannounced visitors, and it took me a while to understand their privacy, their need for privacy. So a kind of surprising thing happened to me one day. I had some business in a town down on the Ohio River, a couple of hours from my home, which was in Columbus. And I finished my business early enough, so I decided to drop by and see my parents. It wasn't too far out of my way just to go to their house, so I did, and it was about 3 p.m. And so they lived on this steep hill, so I made the charge up the hill. I mean, charge because that's what you had to do. If you didn't have a running start, a lot of speed, a lot of momentum, the hill was so steep that the car could just stop and you'd be spinning your wheels in the gravel, throwing dirt, and then you had to back down really carefully and start over, or you could just park the car and walk up. But this time, on this occasion, I got up some speed. I made it past the worst area and I drove right up to the house. And there was my dad, buck naked. I mean, all he was wearing was a pair of shoes and his reading glasses, and he was sitting in a folding chair outside, a lawn chair, reading a book. He was getting a suntan all over. Just a few feet away, a little closer to the house, there was my mom washing one of the cars. One of the cars, I say one of the cars, because my dad had several old, kind of beat up and cheap cars. That's another story for another time. But anyway, here's my dad sitting in a chair, naked, wearing just shoes, and my mom's over there washing the car, also naked. I think she had flip flops on her feet because it was gravel and dry. It was gravel in the driveway. So, this seemed awkward enough, and then it was weird because to them it was a perfectly normal situation. It was like, well, I guess they probably spent their days this way, and maybe they only got dressed when they had to go out to go to the store. I'm not sure. And and this wasn't exactly attractive either because my mom and dad were in their early 70s and neither one of them was really very fit, So then, so here I am standing there in front of my dad, and my dad says, like, "Hey, good to see you. Come on in the house. Want a cup of coffee?" And I'm not even sure they felt awkward at all, but I really did, I guess. And I played along. And by that, I mean, I tried to pretend that I didn't feel awkward, which also was awkward because I was really pretending. And I don't remember how long I stayed or what happened after that because it wasn't like I didn't know about these nudist activities because I did know. I knew about this club they belonged to. It was called Bear Valley, and at first I thought it's because there was bears, but it was Bear Valley spelled a different way, which was, I was in the hills in a sort of a hidden location. It was very private. I remember my mom one time sort of asking me for reassurance once because I did go there once with them to see what it was like to Bear Valley, Bare, to check it out. And there didn't seem to be anything immoral going on there, just people who liked to parade around in their birthday suit. They would sit in a jacuzzi in a birthday suit, relax, watch TV in their birthday suits. It all seemed okay. But anyway, I once remember that my mom asked me, "You think it's okay that your dad and I do this nudist thing at the campground?" Because they referred to Bear Valley that way as the campground. Maybe it seemed less obvious to call it the campground. And she said, there's nothing going on, immoral going on there. There's no kind of activities between people or anything like that. And I said, sure, I understand whatever you like, awkward. It's a free country. You can do anything that doesn't hurt anybody. And I guess that made my mom feel better. It was nice to know that they needed my approval, and which seemed kind of backwards to me, seeing as how they were my parents, not the other way around. So, anyway, I think I can pick up this story in another video, and I'll tell you a lot more next time because there's some interesting details. But I want you to notice something about verb tenses. At one point, I used the present tense to tell a story. I said, so my dad says, blah, blah, blah. This is common. In conversational storytelling, you might use the present tense to sort of promote the idea that you're reliving the story. So you talk in present tense in the conversational part. So then he says to me, and I say to her, that sort of thing. And you do that in the conversational part of the story. And you'd leave the rest of it in past tense. Anyway, I'm going to close for now. I'll tell you more interesting related stories in an upcoming video. Thanks for following. Thanks for watching. Catch you soon in another video.